No, there's ducks everywhere.
There is, yeah. Be careful where you stand.
I guess my interest in why you've started Artistic Spectrum, working with people with autism, I mean, it's quite a valiant thing to do. How did you end up in that position?
I graduated in 2000 from Falmouth, doing my art degree, and I was exhibiting in London, so I moved straight to London.
Yeah,
and,
well, like a lot of people do.
Yeah, and whilst I was exhibiting, I started working with a speech and language therapist and developing visual aids for a child with autism, and then just got really interested in autism. Yeah.
When I was researching a little bit, you know, you won some quite big awards.
I won several awards for my own artwork and my own ceramics.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started working with autism, it just changed really. I felt it was a bit too self-indulgent, you know, to be just focusing on my own work. So a split between that and community work while I was living in London seemed to be good. Something
I struggle with is not always feeling like what I'm doing is helping people. Or often I feel like I want to be helping, but it doesn't feel like you're doing it that directly as an artist and, you know, exhibiting in gallery. You know, you're very removed from it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually working with people is, you know, probably more rewarding.
It gives you a reality check. I think that's, that's the thing that I felt like splitting my time did. So I loved all the exhibiting and the community work fulfilled you in a different sense because you felt like you was giving something back.
Yeah.
I'm from a really working class family, so it felt almost too privileged to be doing my own work all the time.
Right,
so,
really, yeah. There's almost quite a guilt sometimes in pursuing art. So you were working on a project designing something for autistic people to interact with?
Like visual aids, and I realised that how powerful they were. The young lad that I was working with was 5 and was integrating him into mainstream school. And the speech and language therapist was struggling a bit, so we started designing new visual aids.
With that?
Yeah.
So there's a much more actual function.
Which at university I hated functional wear. I wanted to be, I was more of a fine artist. So, yeah.
When I was on foundation, they were like, designs functional, fine arts non-functional. And I've sort of always thought, oh, I'd quite like to be functional. Well, I mean, there's quite a big step from you designing these visual aids to now running your own organisation?
I decided to move back up north and started working in an autistic organisation, and then started working in several different ones. It was taking so much time travelling. I thought, if I set my own organisation up, I can train people and then
everyone can come to you as well.
Yeah, you can have a base and that can be running while you're still doing your outreach.
So do you feel like, in terms of your own work and your practice, do you still pursue that? Or?
I don't actually at the moment, but I'm just going back to doing MA this year. So
I guess it's hard if you're just always giving and giving.
You've got to be inspired yourself so that can filter through into everybody else.
Well, I do teaching, but then sometimes I think you're not actually helping people, or you're helping people but not necessarily that need help.
But you're inspiring them.
No, it's good, but you know, it's like it's like that's operating at a certain point. But then I think there's being actually useful and helping people that need help. But I've never brought myself to really do that. I don't know whether it's because I've felt like, oh, if you do that, it discredits you as an artist. I worry about that perception.
That's the outside perception though, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's something, you've quite happily ignored.
You've got to go with your gut feeling, haven't you, about things, and if you want to do something and it's frowned upon, then so be it. I think doing your own degree is your own therapy anyway, a lot of the time. So you learn loads about yourself through education. You know, a lot of people aren't given that opportunity, are they? And you should come and volunteer for us, Harry.
I'd really like to. No, I do need to sort myself out. Stop being so selfish. When I popped in earlier, I mean, one thing you said was the group that came in had a choice as to what they're going to do.
A lot of our projects stem from individual behaviours.
So you have to learn the person.
One of the students that I worked with, he was in residential. When he was anxious or happy, he used to shred paper, but he was taking over the art room with shredded paper, so we moved that on and created collages, and then one of our biggest projects has come from that activity. the organisation wanted to stop it, but you're not going to stop that. It's his way of releasing it.
Yeah.
So what you do is make it into a positive.
And you have to encourage it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you learn a lot from them.
Oh, lots from the individual.
Yeah.
I mean, the autistic spectrum anyway is just massive.
Because that's often one of the issues, from what I understand. There isn't a sort of stereotype or a fixed notion of what it is. It has to be a really tailor-made experience.
We try to treat everyone as an individual. Obviously, we want them to enjoy the experience and have fun. Fun is sometimes lacking in
Well,
the
definitely in
individual.
education.
Yeah.
You said when you were studying, you thought of yourself more as a fine artist.
Yeah.
Why was that?
I just loved all the fine art lectures. The tutors used to say, come on, fine art, you're more fine art. When I graduated, I won Guardian Designer of the Year, which we exhibited at New Designers in London. The night that I put up the exhibition, I remember going home crying, thinking, mine's not a design piece, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you're dead unhappy with this award?
I was like, I shouldn't be at this exhibition. But I was amazed. The next day I got phone calls from Wedgwood and Habitat and stuff, and I was like, are you talking to the right person?
So it seems like that sort of career path was never something you really wanted to pursue.
It wasn't. And I loved all the exhibiting and everything, but it didn't feel me all the time. So. I mean, we exhibit the clients' work now all over the UK, and I love that because it's really exciting for them to go and see the work.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal.
Yeah, when we've made some artwork that I think is particularly good, then I look for exhibitions where it's with mainstream artists, and I put the proposal in with mainstream artists just to see if the artwork stands up. Then once they've got there, I've said, actually, it's been created with people with autism. And I don't want them to just get in because people think, oh, we'll let them get in, you know what I mean?
So now you're really sort of wanting to train other people up to deliver these workshops as well?
We've got about 4 different freelancers working.
Oh, we've got an
audience.
We're scaring them off. They're amazing.
They are.
Well, that's like you, isn't it? Training the ducklings up.
We need to train more people, and just so that we can access more people and have more social impact, really.
Is there quite a demand for it?
Yeah, so last year, every time we had a session, we had to put everything outside, because obviously a lot of our client group hate messy, unorganised
environments.
Yeah. So we had to take everything out before we started the session and bring it in afterwards. Well, if it's a day like today, you're just like fighting.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, well, we just manage. There's currently about 1 in 50 people being diagnosed with autism. So the demand is high, really.
I better start helping out.
Yeah.
make me feel even guiltier.
Next week.
1 in 50 is a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily feel like it's something we're that aware of or society is that conscious of.
No, I think it's fairly new to a lot of people. So I've been working in autism for 15 years. People are a lot more aware of it and recognise it, but still there's loads of work to be done. Do
you feel a pressure to do that, to sort of change those perceptions or?
Educate people, that's really important. When we started working in Thorn, the autistic community and the general public didn't really always have the opportunity to mix. But when our students started using the cafe next door, when it was open for the public, then people started to mix. Some of our students work voluntary in the community, and it's really important that people can recognise and understand it more. So that's quite a big transition, going from residential care where they don't access much community and then come to us. So it's scary for them, and also
well, more scary, I imagine.
Yeah, really scary.
Well, and it's fun as well, so that helps.
It's good fun. Sense of humour and
humour involved in it is definitely key to to any sort of artistic practice. I don't know how much we allow ourselves to have fun, and
art's really, it's great. You lose yourself, don't you, and create your own world. So you don't have that opportunity every day unless you're an artist. Of course, Harry.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if I create my own world. That sounds nice though.
Yeah.
I still think I'm trying to figure out this one at the minute.
Oh yeah.
don't know. I feel like a bit.
Do you feel pressured?
I guess you do want to feel like you have a use, or what you do means something to someone. And I think I've tried different ways to explore doing that. And after 10 years or so, I'm still figuring that out.
Discovering. Yeah.
I mean, that's partly why I've wanted to come and talk to other people and learn from them, and try and understand it a bit more. Because I think if I don't understand it, then how is anyone else, I mean, there's a lot of stigma around art. I mean, maybe that sounds a bit unfair, in the same conversation as talking a stigma around autism, but how we value art, or how the perception of art is something that seems very off at times.
Yeah.
It still feels very dated in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think more than ever, because of the lack of it in primary and secondary education. It's just been scrapped, isn't it?
It's really looked down upon.
Yeah, and also the way that art is valued. They say, oh, he's a good drawer, or, you know. So it's really distorted views of what art could be.
I mean, I have a big issue with drawing, because I think in schools that's the thing that's used to determine whether you're good at art or not.
It's valued, isn't it?
There's a lot of value in drawing, but if you're not that dexterous with your hands, then what does that mean? You're not an artist.
Yeah, well, art is all about expressing yourself, isn't it? And if it's limited to one medium, and if you're not very good at that, then it's really frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyone that might have any sort of physical or mental difficulty or disability, if you're saying you need to be skilled at drawing or painting or whatever, if someone doesn't physically have those abilities, are you denying them the right to think of themselves as an artist?
This one young lad turned round to they were working in pairs, but doing collage. He said to me, do artists do this? Because I love doing this. And I said, oh yeah, they do. And then he turned round to his friend and he said, we could be artists. We could do this all day, every day.
Yeah.
And it's just igniting that little spark, isn't it, in someone to believe that.
It does often come back to this need to express yourself, because I think everyone needs that. And finding a way to do that, whatever form that takes. I mean, it is something that everyone has the potential to do. And the more barriers and hurdles that we put in front of people, that's what I really worry about.
Yeah, well, they can't have the opportunity to explore, can they? It's all about exploring and having fun.
When you have this comparison between, career artists or designers and whatever, and I think it's all great stuff and it's all really interesting, and it does fuel that. But the notion that sort of arts therapy or supporting these things is looked down upon angers me. I've had it expressed to me just through the fact that I teach. It's like, oh, you're teaching. That's you're destined to be a teacher or something like that. And
you've given up.
Yeah, you've given up, and I think that's the problem. Is we're viewing success as, oh well, if you're doing the thing that's actually really helpful and useful, that's giving up. I guess it's the money, isn't it? There's not a lot of money in helping people.
Well, you never know.
Yeah. Just feel really jealous and envious. And, bad about myself.
No, Harry.
Autism's not necessarily something that goes away.
No.
Do you feel a lot of responsibility to the people you work with?
Yeah, you feel a massive responsibility.
Potentially well, maybe not you, but your organisation would be working with them their entire life.
Some of the children that I started working with are now adults, so, they were 12 when I started working with them, they're 27. Which
is more of a personal experience than you get in education even. I mean, at the most that's 6 or 7 years. So. And does that put a lot of pressure on you to keep the organisation going,
Yeah, well, you want it to continue, obviously. At the moment, we're funded from project to project. The best part is working with the students. When we go home and stuff, we're still applying for funding. And
so it's quite precarious thing. People look at organisations and they just go, oh, they're fine, they're around, they're doing whatever, and then can be, and then they start to be critical of them. And it's like, hold on, these things aren't easy to establish and probably even harder to keep going. And where does that funding come from? Is it multiple?
Multiple, yeah.
Is there much competition or? Or is that
In what way
demand?
do you mean competition?
Your pitches, the sort of fun,
Yeah,
artistic.
interactive, socialising.
Yeah.
Art is the tool really for them getting lifelong friendships, going out to the pub together or playing pool. Or...
So the sort of socialising and the personal development
yeah, it's
is
really
more important. Or-
Yeah.
From my experience of sort of, becoming an artist and pursuing this thing, the social aspect and the friendships and like they're where the real, for me, often the real value is being in it. You know, as much as it's self-expression, it's being around
Collaborative.
other people.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I'd probably just stay at home all the time.
Yeah. Have you got a studio, Harry,
No,
that you work
no.
from?
I had one for a bit, but the sort of cost of it didn't really make sense. Just having an extra room where you can go and send emails and
Yeah.
think about things seems a bit excessive. Maybe you lose that sort of playfulness, or just actually working with materials. And,
Yeah,
and,
you can
I've not done
experiment,
any of that
can't
for
you?
years.
Haven't you?
No, maybe I should. Well, if can get help in.
Yeah. Then you can have a go yourself.
Yeah, I can come and get showed up
Yeah.
at how bad I am at working
No.
with clay. All right, we'll head off. Well, I don't know where all the ducks have gone.
We didn't have many in the shop, did we?